Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means? It's time for your favorite podcast, SHW. This is our wrestling B-double Brandon Benefield, the great GB Gerard Bonner, and the beautiful Diana Michelle rocking that new hoodie. I love it.
Hey.
I love that. I got mine pre-ordered. I'm good to go. Oh, absolutely. How can they reach you, Diana, through social media?
Oh, all my social medias. Yes. Instagram, Facebook. If you got my number, which you probably don't, call me.
Don't advertise that. I already see what's happening. They're coming to the DMs. Miss Diana, you think I could? Yeah.
Oh boy.
Which, by the way,
I
probably should have said this off air, but this is going to be fun off air. The member 3.5 of V3 has been regularly asking, "Are you going to have a meeting with my friends? They're your friends first, but they're my friends now."
Oh, I love him.
Miss Diana, Mr. Brandon.
I love him.
There you go.
He's welcome anytime. You know that.
I know.
Oh, look,
if he knew I was on with you, he'd be busting in here right now.
I was going to say, GB, he'll just show up anytime. We don't know. The show's just started, so we'll see.
Exactly.
Well, we have a huge show coming up next Friday, SHW59, February 2nd at the Action Building, 261 Marietta Road, Canton, Georgia. Come join us. Tickets available at the door starting as low as $15. Kids 10 and under, of course, are free. Tickets go on sale at the door starting 5 p.m. on Friday, next Friday, and then doors open at 7, bell time at 8. And so tonight we are going to preview that show because we've seen a huge card get laid out over the last couple of weeks. And not only that, but some changes that have happened over this past week. And because, it's we've been saying this since 2020, GB. Remember when it seemed like the thing card subject to change? Well, yes, we were kind of living by that.
Probably
because
need to put that in big bold letters these days.
Right. So you just never know. You never know what might happen. But despite all that, we've still got a crazy card. It's going to be insane, and we're going to run through it for you tonight. And also, we're going to touch on this again at the end of the show, but I do want to quick remind you that this Saturday, the 27th of January, the Wild Wing Cafe in Alpharetta, the second annual in-person Georgia Wrestling Awards and Gala. It's going to be awesome. We will be hosting that show, and we hope you guys can come out and join us. It's open to the public. But again, we'll touch on all that and give you the details at the end of this episode. So stick with us as we preview SHW 59. And I tell you one thing I am super excited about. Well, first of all, I'm excited about the whole card. But the massive debut, the debut match of the giant, the 7'3" giant known as Chosen. We saw him. Yeah, we saw him debut at the last show and just kind of destroy, I think, for lack of a better word, the Duckman and Tangra. And now he's going to have his debut match, his first ever match in SHW. And it's him versus question mark. Like, who in their right mind would want to go up against this guy?
You reckon they're trying to, book somebody and they're like, no, I'm
maybe
good.
Maybe they're having trouble finding somebody. Who knows?
Who you want me to? No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I totally agree with you. You can imagine people want to, and lately over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of people debuting on the show and they want to get their foot in the door but
no, I'm good.
Yeah, I'll try another month.
The next time.
Yeah.
At what point do you say, you've been wanting to get on the card with SHW for so long? Where's the line that you draw where you go I think it's a 7'3" monster known as Chosen, where you go, I'll wait till next month, maybe. And I'll try my luck again at a later date. Because if you saw what he did to Rob Killjoy and Damian Tangra, and if you didn't see it, go on social media or go on IWTV and watch the show from Year of Honor a few weeks ago. Man, oh man, that was insane. I mean,
you just saw him walk out.
Yeah. Jaws on the floor. I mean, we were
enough
stunned. So that's going to be insane. It's kind of like, Andre the Giant, he was an attraction, this guy, I'm telling you, you have to see him in person. And, it's available on IWTV. Yeah, there are clips on social media. but it doesn't do it justice. I mean, you need to see this guy
No,
in person.
no.
It's insane.
Those pictures were great, but they didn't even.
Yeah.
It was like, nah, they must have shrunk him down to fit into the frame or something.
Right.
Because,
Right.
dude's huge.
Oh, it's insane.
Huge.
Another first time match in SHW, another guy making his debut, not his wrestling debut, but his SHW in-ring debut, the Warden, who showed up last month to help out the Faithful One defeat Fluffman. Fluffman, I think, was on the verge of getting a win in his debut match if it weren't for the Warden showing up through the crowd.
Steamroll.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the steamroll. I
Yeah.
tell you what, I have seen more people over the last couple of weeks talk about one of their favorite moments and their new favorite wrestler and their new favorite wrestling move being Cody Fluffman and the steamroller. I mean,
Yes.
talk about like fans right away. And the fans were behind him from the get-go, even if they didn't know who he was. Just because anybody goes up against the Faithful One. I mean, come on. But but Fluffman, man, oh, what a debut.
He's a crowd pleaser. He definitely is a crowd pleaser. But y'all, the steamroller is the best thing to happen in a long, long time.
Yeah.
I don't care. Well, I do. I want to see him steamroll Warden. That'd probably be a hard thing to do, but
if anybody could do it,
the Fluffman could. Yes.
You know what I think is so interesting? I think Cody Fluffman is probably a great case study in terms of what people always call the it factor in pro wrestling, right? Like sometimes people think it's the great moves, or sometimes people think it's the great body type. You know, I got to have all these muscles and I got to, you know, have this great music. But sometimes when you're just authentically you and you have the it factor, it goes. I have seen, to your point, so many people talking about Cody, even people like Gary Lamb, who says he doesn't pay attention to pro wrestling. He thinks Cody Fluffman's one of the best things to happen. So if you can, you know, if you can convert, he's going to get me for this, an unbeliever like Gary Lamb, you're doing something. And so I think that Cody Fluffman is that guy. And so with the people behind him, the Warden may have picked the wrong one to kind of make his debut against, to try to attack, you know, in trying to be faithful to Alexander Lev, which at some point we're going to have to figure out what kind of hold Alexander Lev has over people. Yeah. I don't understand it, but I do know this. Cody Fluffman is a breath of fresh air, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do with a chip on his shoulder against the Warden next Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And here's the thing, if people are unfamiliar with the Warden, you know, we've seen him since his beginning, kind of like we talked about with Carly Bravo all those years, where we've seen him since day one. Same thing with the Warden. We've seen him since his very beginning, coming up through the Nightmare Factory, and he's become one of these standouts at the Nightmare Factory at all the different showcases. We'll see him on the card trying to help out the other beginners, you know, because at this point he's kind of like a Nightmare Factory veteran going through the ranks, and he's kind of at the point now where he's kind of having these matches with the up-and-comers, and they're not having an easy time at all because, I mean, you saw the size of the Warden. I mean, we were just talking about Chosen. You know, he's not quite as big as Chosen, but he's still a big dude. And
he's a presence.
No, absolutely. And you know, there's a whole backstory. Maybe we can get into it on commentary during the match next Friday, GB. You know, you saw him carrying that motorcycle helmet to the ring. There's a whole story there. We won't get into it here tonight, but you know, he's just got a whole very interesting backstory. And I am kind of wondering, to your point earlier, how that's tying into him siding with Alexander Lev and what the situation is there. But we shall find out soon enough next week at SHW59. Another marquee matchup that I am super excited about, and everybody before it's even happened is already saying it's match of the night and potential match of the year for 2024. And we're only in January, or but soon to be February. But I'm talking about Kyle Matthews making his return to the Action Building. It's been a minute since we've seen him taking on Adam Priest. And I mean, you talk about a technical masterpiece, the potential here. This is going to be absolutely awesome. I cannot wait for this matchup, like Adam Priest or not. And here's the thing. I said all along, I really am an Adam Priest fan. The problem is I'm not a fan of who he associates himself with.
Thank you.
And That's where the problem is. So I know the SHW crowd aren't taking to Adam Priest because of his affiliation with Action Wrestling and their CEO, Matt Griffin, who supposedly will be in the building and will be in Adam Priest's corner next Friday. But despite all that, Adam Priest in the ring is a machine. Kyle Matthews, a technical wizard. And I mean, they're going to make magic happen, I feel like.
But the last time we saw Adam, wasn't that when he had the branding iron?
I believe you're right. When they were going after Cruel, I think it was when they were trying to brand Cruel.
But didn't he
crazy?
Help me? Didn't he defend also after that the Action Championship against Ashton?
He did.
You're right.
That was the last time we saw him. I think that was in November.
He did.
You're right.
He did. You're right. You're right. He did. He is still the Action Champion, correct?
No.
No, he's not.
He lost that to Alex Kane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that. Saw that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I am excited about this. First, I'm excited about Kyle because I have ideas.
Would you like to share your ideas?
I want Kyle in the Bad Boys Club, and I think I can get him and Chip back together. I want Kyle in the Bad Boys Club. Let me get there early. I'm gonna put a little bug in somebody's ear. We're gonna figure that out. I want to see that.
You know, I think, you know, we're in this era right now where there are factions being created and women are leading these male-dominated factions. Could Diana Michelle be the leader of the Bad Boys?
I would love to.
That would
love to. Let me talk to Chip.
Listen, it's money. Print the money. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I would love that.
Oh,
I would
goodness.
be Chip and Kyle and Owen Knight. Dude, don't play. Don't play with me.
Somebody sign this. This is incredible.
Well, who knows? Time will tell. I mean, we're going to see Kyle in the building next week. Maybe before the show, you can get in his ear, Diana, and maybe pitch this to him and see what he thinks. But I'm here for it.
I want to see it.
Oh, it's going to be good. But
we're going to have our own theme music. We're going to have our own look.
That could be down the road, or it could be next week when it happens. I don't know.
This is true.
But what I do know is that this match alone, and there's no title on the line or anything like that. This is just straight up singles match. But the implications, perhaps. I mean, you got to think that whoever wins this match has got to be in some sort of title contention, whether it's the JTS Legacy title or the Southern Honor title or a tag team match, perhaps with a partner of their, who knows, or the IWTV World Championship, because that'll be on the line next Friday as well. We'll get to that match here in a few. But moving down the card here, Diana, you were touching on the Bad Boys Club here, and that brings us to the bad boy, Chip Day. The JTS Legacy Championship will be defended once again. Now, of course, Chip coming off of a very brutal and very, I've been saying, emotionally charged night in title defense last month, or earlier this month at the last show. Of course, that match ended in a no contest when he just beat the snot out of that little snot, Hollywood Hunter James. And who knows where that goes? I don't know. I never heard anything about Hunter. I guess he's doing okay now because he was out. The refs had to come out. The medic from the back had to come out and check on him. I assume he's doing okay now. It's been a couple weeks. Hopefully he's all right, because again, I've said this before, like these guys or not, you never want to see anybody seriously injured. And in that case, it got pretty serious there for a minute. Yeah. But Chip, he was just enraged. That emotion took over, and he was just laying it in.
Look, Chip had a score to settle.
Yeah.
And I said he was not leaving without that title. He did not. Whether it was a win in the column, a loss in the column, it doesn't matter. He left with his title. He did settle a score, or at least he got some licks in.
Yeah.
To say the least.
To say the least, absolutely.
I don't know that this is the end of this whole story, but we're going to pause it for a minute because I don't know that Hunter's ready.
Yeah. GB, any thoughts on that before I get to his opponent?
I will say this. I think, first of all, I'm still stuck on the Bad Boys for Life. Like, I totally think that needs to happen. With that said, I also don't think it's over between Hunter James and Chip Day. you know, but Chip Day has learned over the years how to channel his energy and channel his focus. And for him, as long as he has waited to become the Jake the Snake Legacy champion, he is not going to allow Hunter James or anybody else to cause him to be distracted from whoever stands across the ring from him. So he'll be ready this coming Friday night. He will be ready.
Like
Well,
controlled. Is there such thing as controlled rage?
Oh, there is. And
Oh,
I think he is the embodiment of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think he will most certainly be ready for his upcoming opponent. It's the returning CB Suave, who we have not seen in a few years at SHW. One of the big standout moments for CB Suave, well, several moments in one night for CB Suave was, I believe, it was the very first Rumblejack. It was when AC Mack was the champion, and before the Rumblejack match even happened that night, it was earlier in the night. CB Suave happened to be in the crowd and somehow or another got AC Mack's attention. That turned into a challenge right there on the spot. And CB Suave ended up getting a title shot with AC Mack. And to a lot of people's surprise, especially Max, kind of took him to the limit, I dare say. Now, if Max hearing this, I apologize. He'll probably come after me later and be like, that's not true. But I mean, it kind of shocked a lot of people. But then we would end up seeing CB Suave again in the Rumblejack match itself as well, let me backtrack a second. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dragon Con. Have you ever been to Dragon Con? So they have the wrestling event that happens at Dragon Con. CB Suave, I believe, is like a kind of a standout. He does the cosplay and he'll dress up as the different wrestlers and stuff. And so he did that at the Rumblejack, and I believe he came out as I think HBK at one point. I think at one point he came out as the Warrior, Ultimate Warrior.
He's done Ric Flair, but I don't know
at one
if he
point
was
in the
at
night.
Rumblejack.
Well, I think he was Flair. That might have been when Matt called him out of the crowd. He might have been Ric Flair. I can't remember, but there was just several different versions. It was kind of like the three faces of Foley, and when he kept coming back into the Royal Rumble, it's like, wait a second. So, anyways, that's CB Suave. He's a lot of fun, but don't let that fool you, because he can get intense and he can fight with the best of them, and that's where, again, I'm sure Chip Day will be ready, but. Obviously, you just don't want to like take it lightly and assume this guy's just, he's just comedy and fun and silly. And well, all right, you know, he can turn it on when he needs to. And when he's coming in and right away getting a JTS Legacy Championship opportunity, I'm sure he'll be ready for it. And I'm also sure Chip Day will be ready as well. So that should be a great matchup.
Should be a great match.
That's just one of two championship matches. The other one is another huge championship match, the IWTV World Championship will once again be defended in a Southern Honor ring. This time, the Atrocity Cruel will be taking on TNA legend Suicide, the mysterious, enigmatic masked man who we have seen at SHW before. In fact, he had a title shot, I believe it was against Corey Hollis, when Hollis was the champion, and he gave Hollis a run for his money for the SHW title. Now he's here and he gets a chance at the IWTV World title, and should be interesting. Two masked men going at it for the IWTV title. What do we think?
Two different styles completely.
Oh yeah,
styles. I've seen Suicide a few times. Once at Machulicha, which was amazing. Highly recommended to watch him there, and I've seen him go against Barry Morales a few times, and that's always fire match. So I mean, it's very fast paced, high energy, crazy moves, and you know, Cruel is Cruel. He can take anything. He takes everything and dishes everything and anything else. So
I don't think he's human. I mean,
honestly,
honestly,
did you see his latest Instagram post when he's like holding his babies, you know, his little titles, and it's like he actually looks like he's got a little human in him, but at the same time, it's like, nah. But this is going to be a great match. It's going to be one that you really want to see for real.
Yeah. You know, this is so interesting because I think sometimes people forget the history that Suicide has in terms of how much he's accomplished in the business all the time. You know, we're in this TNA renaissance right now, and he was certainly a big part of some of the big years of TNA. And so all that he did there, either in the 6-sided ring or the 4-sided ring and the X division and all of those places, where the X division talks about there are no limits, no weight limits, no height limits, all those types of things. It's a real challenge when you end up against a guy like Cruel. So some might think, well, what has Suicide done to earn a world title shot? Well, look at his career. His career has earned him a world title shot for the IWTV World Championship. Now that there's no longer a dispute in terms of who the world champion is, we never had a dispute. We always knew who it was. Proof that you should listen to us, because if we tell you it's a thing, it's a thing. We told you for months that Cruel was the IWTV World Champion. Now the rest of the world is figuring it out. Now that there's no dispute, he gets to keep showing you why he's been the world champion all of this time. So I think Suicide has a very tough job ahead of him. It feels as though, at the top of the year when Cruel unified those championships, he had a new fire under him. New year, new you.
Fire?
Well, I did say that, didn't I? Well done. Well
Under
done.
him, around him, on him, through him, out of him.
He's dangerous.
Yes.
And so I honestly don't know that there is one man who can handle Cruel. But if there's anybody who would be daring enough to do it, I think it would be Suicide. So I think we're in for a very special treat. And SHW faithful, don't get so accustomed and to having world title matches that you take it for granted.
No, it's a big deal.
Very fortunate, really, ever since I believe 2022, to start getting IWTV world title matches in our building, starting with AC Mack. And I don't think it's a coincidence that two major pillars of Southern Honor Wrestling have been long reigning and long standing IWTV world champions. So make sure you're bringing lots of people out to see a world champion recognized by PWI and all the places defend this championship inside the Action Building next Friday night.
Oh, it's going to be good. And GB, to your point, our fans have been, I'll just say it, spoiled. Because
spoiled rotten.
And you guys got to think about all the other promotions just in Georgia, first of all, but think about all the other states in the country, and they all have a bunch of promotions, that are all considered independent wrestling, indie wrestling. Good number of those promotions appear on IWTV. Correct. The IWTV World Championship has now been considered a true world championship in PWI, and it's a legit, real deal thing. And the fact that we get those matches in our building on our shows, that's huge. That is a huge deal. So like you said, man, we just don't take advantage, you really got to appreciate when these championship matches take place on our shows.
I'll go as far as to say we're spoiled as well.
No, we are. Yeah,
absolutely. Yes. I'm totally spoiled. I don't know how to act if I have to go and not announce a world title shot.
and that's one of the reasons why we really do appreciate these moments, appreciate these opportunities, because I don't know how many people in our position get to call world title matches.
Right. Never thought I would, honestly. Never.
Yeah, I mean,
in a million years thought I would be able to do something like that, something so big. And it's a big deal. It's huge.
It's a very big deal. As I see Tony Schiavone behind you, it's pretty cool.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
That's right. On my wall.
Yeah, it is.
The Wall of Fame. Is that the Wall of Fame? Because we're up there.
The Wall of Fame. How about that?
I love it. Diana's Wall of Fame.
Yes.
All right. We've got well, let me just start by saying this. I'll preface this next thing by saying at the end of our last show, all hell broke loose between the hierarchy and the end game. And then we heard the music of a gentleman that we had not seen in quite some time. This is not a test, and then of course everybody recognized that and turned around and was like, wait a second. Is he really here?
Kane impression?
I have 2 words.
Yep. And here comes Gunnar Miller. We hadn't seen him in months. And, he has not forgotten. He has not forgotten what Todd Sexton did to screw him out of his title when he was the Southern Honor champion, which allowed Judas to become the champion. And he got in there and mixed it up with CT Keys and all the members of the end game. and we weren't quite sure what the deal was. Was he just coming to the end of the hierarchy? Was it kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend? So he's just helping the hierarchy, because it kind of evened the sides there momentarily. But we weren't sure who he had it out for, whether it was Sexton or Judias or CT Keys, who's been mocking Gunnar Miller over the last several months, throwing up the captaincy and using the spear and the jackhammer and, some of Gunnar's signature moves. Well, we found out that we will hear from Gunnar Miller next Friday at SHW59. I'm sure he's got words for Todd Sexton. I'm sure he's got words for the end game. We don't know for sure exactly what all he's got on his mind or what he's going to say, but it was really awesome to see him, because we have to see, people assume the positions we're in that we know what's going on behind it. When people show up like that, we had no clue. He came and spoke to Gerard and I after the show, telling us, "Hey, it's good to see you guys." When we're like blown away, we're like, "We didn't know you were going to be here. This is crazy."
Exactly.
And so we were just as surprised as everybody else. But it was great to see him, and I'll be excited to see him again next Friday to hear what he has to say when he addresses the SHW faithful.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I know he's got things on his mind that he's got to attend to. And you say, who is he there for? I mean, I say he was there for all of them.
Yeah.
All
Could
of
be.
them.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, he may not have a side to pick. I think he's there for his.
He wants that belt back.
Yeah, he's there for his.
Yeah, he is a man of few words. He usually does most of his talking with his actions. But I also wonder, he's been a team player for a long time. If you think back to the war between Dishonor and SHW, he was kind of leading the charge for that, and then kind of got caught up in his emotions trying to save Gary and ended up costing the company, and like all of these kinds of things. I'm intrigued to see if he's interested in being involved in any more team battles, or if he's just fighting for himself at this point. I think often back to some of the comments you've made before, Diana, about his focus and how his focus often gets diverted, whether it was Lethal Poison or, Dishonor, and now potentially the end game. Where will his focus be? Perhaps those few months off have been time for him to be able to think and determine what he wants to do. We'll find out what his plans are next Friday. I'll be listening very intently, because there are clearly lots of potential targets for Gunnar Miller.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, talking about the end game, and you heard us touch on this at the very beginning of this episode, card subject to change. Initially, there were a couple of other matches that were announced, and I'll touch on those real quick and tell you why and why they got changed and what is taking place. Instead, we were going to see Nathan Mowry, the Killbilly, taking on Sal Renaro. Now, if you'll remember at the last show, Sunny Days had apparently been kidnapped, for lack of a better term. At the time, we didn't know. Jake the Snake's texted me and letting me know Sonny's not in the building. He was supposed to have a tag title championship opportunity, and it's like, what's going on here? And then we come to find out later in the night, it apparently was the doings of Coven of the Goat, as we see the Reverend, and then we see Nathan Mowry with a fireball to Sal Renaro right in his face. And Sunny Days is locked up in some room somewhere on the video screen. And so we were going to see the Killbilly taking on Sal Renaro one-on-one. At the same time, we were also going to see a 6-man tag team match where we were going to see 3 members of the hierarchy taking on 3 members of the end game. Well, as we found out through social media earlier this week, unfortunately, the SHW champ Judias is unable to make the show next Friday. So we had kind of this crazy scramble to figure out what to do for the main event. And now we're getting SHW Tag Team Championship turmoil. And this match just looks insane just from the idea of it and how it's all going to work. But it's going to include 5 tag teams total, okay? We're going to start this match with 4 teams, and I'll list those teams for you. It's going to be Happy Madness, Coven of the Goat, the Grapplers, and the End Game. They're going to start this match. One of those teams will be eliminated. Once one team is eliminated, the hierarchy enter the match, and it becomes fatal 4-way rules, where it's 1 fall to a finish, and that'll crown the SHW champions. Will the hierarchy be able to retain? We don't know, because they'll be in there with 3 other teams. But before they even get in there, let's talk about these 4 teams that are going to start the match. So you got Happy Madness, Coven of the Goat. I want to touch on that story there, because like I said, we were going to see Sal and the Killbilly. Well, now Sunny Days, I guess, finally got free from wherever he was being locked up. So he should be back with Sal Renaro taking on Tank and Nathan Mowry, the Killbilly from Coven of the Goat. Those are two teams that, like I just mentioned, they've got this backstory going all the way back to Still Here 5 last October, where we saw that crazy no holds barred match between the Killbilly and Sunny Days. So you got that story. Then you got the Grapplers, who have been like a pretty solid tag team. They popped up here and there. We saw them at the Rumble Jack. Then they showed up in a tag team gauntlet and had a good showing. And now they're going to be back and they're going to get in the mix here. And then you've got the end game. Okay. And then the hierarchy. So of course we know the beef between the end game and the hierarchy. To me, it sounds like complete and utter chaos. And I'm thinking for you and me, GB, from the commentary standpoint, how insane it's going to be for us to try to call this match.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous and I'm a little like, what is going to happen here? And if you stop and think about it, I don't know why this decision was made, but the hierarchies are at a big disadvantage here because, especially when it comes to fatal 4-way rules, anybody else could get pinned. Right. And they could still lose the titles even if they don't take a pinfall. So it just seems chaotic, seems crazy. I don't know. What do we think?
I don't like it. Why not just let the other 4 teams go at it and let Joe and Murder come chill at my table for a while?
I tell you this much.
For the title next month.
Diana, I tell you this much. I'm not about to text Jake the Snake and question his decision.
Yes, you can.
Nope, because I told you guys this. We've had this discussion.
Y'all had pizza this week. Don't lie.
He texts me. I never text him.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
But then send him a little, I don't know, pigeon or whatever. Send him a little message. Ask him. Diana would like to know.
That's hilarious.
I mean, she wants to know why, because it's going to be tough already trying to announce the rules and make everybody understand what's going on in this match. I hate it for you guys trying to figure out what's going on during the match.
Well,
but I mean,
for me, this is going to sound crazy. I love this concept.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I love the concept. My mathematical mind, plus the game show side of me, I love when there are these different kinds of stipulations because it does make things very unpredictable. And as I thought about it, on one hand, the hierarchy has an advantage because they're guaranteed to be in the fatal 4-way, as one of those 4 teams will not be. So for one of those 4 teams, and here's what's crazy. This was supposed to be a night that did not involve a tag team title match.
Right.
Now the tag team titles are on the line again, which, by the way, I think it says a lot about the hierarchy's reign that once again, the tag team title is in the main event of an SHW show. It's been happening a lot during their reign, perhaps more than any other reign that we have seen. So congratulations to the hierarchy for what they are doing for the tag team division. Speaking of the tag team division, a huge opportunity for the Grapplers, for all of the other teams involved, the End Game, for Happy Madness, for Coven of the Goat, who, on one hand, Happy Madness was hoping to have gotten a title shot. Of course, that was supposed to happen at the last show. Sunny Days gets captured and kidnapped and all those things. One of these other teams can kind of really slip in here and make tonight their night, a night where they weren't supposed to get an opportunity at the title, and they do. The other side of this, which I think it's interesting, is the mindset change you have to have. So if you're one of those first 4 teams, you're trying to merely survive, right? Don't get pinned. Don't be involved in that first fall. So you can guarantee you're there for what happens in the next part. Yeah. The next part, then you absolutely have to be involved. So in terms of advantages, I do think the hierarchy has an advantage because they're going to be fresher than any of those other 4 teams that will be left. Those teams will battle however long they have to until somebody gets a fall. The hierarchy gets to come in. Perhaps they get to do damage, perhaps not, because then they have to really pay attention to everybody because there is no championship advantage once they get in here. Yeah. The other thing that makes me nervous is a fatal 4-way often involves no disqualification.
Right.
And the End Game is known for taking advantage of this. We don't know which two members of the end game will be involved in this tag team. We could make an assumption, but we don't know if Todd Sexton's going to throw himself in there. We could assume that it might be CT Keys and
Let
Nick
me see the graphic, because I think we know who's gonna be the team. Let's see. On the graphic, at least. And again, card subject to change, as we've already very clearly pointed out. But it looks like on the graphic, Nick Halen, CT Keys. But to your point, if it's no DQ, that doesn't mean Todd Sexton won't be on the outside floating around to get involved. But at the same time, Coven of the Goat has multiple members. The Hierarchy has multiple members. Who knows?
This could get really convoluted. And if it's a no DQ kind of situation, who knows if weapons get involved? Like, so this is very unpredictable.
Oh,
and
perfect word. Perfect word for it.
You know what I mean? Extremely unpredictable. And it could be the most jeopardy that the Hierarchy's title reign has been in since they won those titles. So I think this will be very, very interesting to watch. Again, I don't know if this is punishment for the Hierarchy or if this is an attempt to say, hey, we need another match that can rival what the initial main event was. Either way, this is an innovative kind of match, I think, which I love to see. And I think it's going to really test what the Hierarchy can bring to the table as the tag team champions. There's a strong possibility we could leave with new tag champions next Friday night. Or the Hierarchy could prove why they've been the most dominant team in the Southeast now for months.
Yeah.
Find out this coming Friday.
We've been saying it ever since they won the titles, just dominance. That's what they've been. One of the most dominant tag teams we've seen.
It's no secret that the end game would love to walk away with those titles and let them hold all the, all the gold. But, the grapplers.
They've been winning gold.
They've got gold.
They were, was it the Anarchy tag champions?
Anarchy, Southern Pride.
They've been winning titles everywhere. So
that's to your point, GB. They could come in and shock everybody. The grapplers could.
They could.
Happy Madness, they former champs. And I mean, it's just unpredictability. Turmoil is the perfect way to title this.
Turmoil.
SHW Tag Team Championship Turmoil. That's going to be the main event next Friday. SHW59. You're not going to want to miss it. As I mentioned, tickets available at the door starting at 5 o'clock, and doors open at 7, bell time at 8. 261 Marietta Road, Canton, Georgia, at the Action Building. There's nothing like experiencing SHW live. Yes, we love that you go back and watch it online and on IWTV.
It ain't the same.
There's just, it's just not the same. Nothing like seeing it live. You got to see Chosen in person. I'm just saying, among other things. The whole show is going to be crazy. So we can't wait to see you. We are very stoked about it. And I can't believe we're already at 59. I mean, it's just crazy how time keeps moving here. But before we get to next Friday, let's talk about coming up tomorrow, January 27th. Alpharetta Wild Wing Cafe. It's the like I've said this before, the GWH awards have been going on for like 20 years or something.
Years and years.
But this is the second year that they're having a live in-person award show and gala. It's going to be awesome. Last year we had it at the Action Building, home of SHW, and we hosted that one. We'll be hosting it again tomorrow night, this time in Alpharetta, as I mentioned, at Wild Wing Cafe. I think tickets might still be available on the website. Perhaps. If it is, it's georgiawrestlingawards.eventb.com. I'll put it right here on the screen, right there. And Diana, did we say, I think they might be available at the door?
From what I saw, they're going to sell them at the door as well. And everybody who does not have a ticket prior to the event is $25 a person. Doesn't matter who you are.
Okay.
I'm told you are not getting in that building without an armband. You will not eat food without an armband. You will not participate with that armband. That armband is going to cost you $25.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, we hope you come out and join us.
Wrong, please,
it is
Please correct me.
Yeah, Naja will let us know if we're mistaken. But it's too late because this is airing right now. So
Yeah, I mean, unless he hops on the horn real quick.
You
right.
never know.
But it's going to be a blast. It's open to the public. That's what's really cool to me because last
Yeah.
year we had a ton of fans show up as well.
Mhm.
Of course, you're
Yeah.
seeing all these wrestlers from all the different promotions in Georgia, which is very cool. It's almost like we say this at the Rumblejack every year. It's like a high school reunion or family
Mhm.
reunion where you're seeing all
Mhm.
these familiar faces that you haven't seen all year.
Yeah.
And it's the same way for this, where it's going to be awesome to reconnect and meet a lot of new faces that we haven't met before. But the fan element, it was what I really liked last year too, was a bunch of fans showed up just to partake in the festivities. There's eating, drinking, dancing, and of course awards, presentations. And like I said, we'll be there hosting the festivities. All three of us are up for awards as well. So thank you for all the nominations for that in the first place.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
we'll see the turnout tomorrow, see how it all plays out. But
Yeah.
GB, how you feeling? You excited? I know you're a big award show guy, so I know you're pumped for this.
I love award shows for a lot of reasons. And one of the reasons is I love getting to see people honored and recognized for their hard work. I think that it takes a lot of work to do the things that we do, and to have a night where we get to sit down and celebrate each other, which I think that is important. I know that, everybody wants to win awards, obviously, and everybody wants to be recognized as the best. But I think to celebrate what we are doing as a wrestling community is
Yes.
extremely important. The wrestling business has been responsible for providing entertainment through the most difficult of times for a lot of people. I mean, we were all wrestling fans growing up, and wrestling held a very dear portion of our heart. It helped us grow up. It helped us get through difficult times, in school or with family or what have you. And, with what happened a couple of years ago with the pandemic, pro wrestling in all spaces really got a lot of people through a lot of very difficult times. And so
Mhm.
to be able to take time and celebrate what we've done on a yearly basis, to celebrate those of our colleagues who we've watched move from Georgia wrestling to a national stage. We get to celebrate all of these kinds of moments and the hard work that's been put in across all of the promotions. Now, I know obviously this is Southern Honor and we believe in what Southern Honor does, but we also are connected to a lot of other people as well throughout this business. And so it's wonderful to be able to come together. So you as a fan get to actually come and meet a lot of these people, cheer on your favorite wrestlers and your favorite promotions and all of those types of things, see us all in a different perspective, and in a different environment, get to have fun. You might get to dance with some of us and take pictures and all of those things. Things that you don't always get to do on a regular wrestling show.
Right.
So I think you should go to the website tonight if you don't have tickets, and get tickets, because tickets are always more expensive at the door. So get them in advance, then you can come. There might even be an opportunity for you to take pictures on the red carpet. Like, it's
Mhm.
just going to be a really special time. And I want to shout out all of the organizers who have worked so hard behind the scenes to see that there's a night like this, because, there were those, obviously for years, something like this did not happen. They just, kind of handed the awards out via a podcast, and we respect the history of that. But to be able to come together in a room, share that same energy, congratulate all of our hardworking colleagues for what they do. And I will say this, contrary to popular belief, we all do support each other. Now, there are
Yes.
some real, very genuine rivalries, no question about that. But we really do
We
want to
won't talk
see
about
each
it.
other. Right. But like, for instance, we know that there are other people in the commentary category, for instance, but we are supporters of all of them,
Yeah.
like we wish them all well, and we're supporting all of them as they've been supporting us. And so I think it's cool, whether it's the referees, the announcers, all of the
Yeah.
things, we all want to see everybody do well in our
Mhm.
business. And so tomorrow night is where we get to celebrate that. And so I hope you guys will be there. Cheer everybody on, cheer your favorites on, and be there to witness history. See who becomes Wrestler of the Year, Technical Wrestler of the Year, Announcer of the Year, Commentator of the Year. Get to see all of that live as it happens, and share your commentary as well. So be there tomorrow night. We look forward to seeing you.
Absolutely. And you touched on the red carpet. Now, red carpet will be open from 6 to 7, and the show actually starts at 7. So you get there by 6, you got an hour, get your picture on the red carpet there, and come on in. Show starts at 7. I believe there's going to be like a handful of awards, and food will be served, and then more awards, something like that, kind of like it was last year. But it's very cool.
I don't think we'll be there all night. I don't think so. I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. They said the bar was open, so I don't know.
Oh Lord.
Well, maybe after the show, maybe I'll hang out and make it a late night. It's a Saturday, so I got nothing to do.
Careful, sir.
I got nothing to do on Sunday morning.
Drinking and driving. So.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I can take an Uber. So, anyways, it'll be fun. Come on, join us, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow. But we also can't wait to see you next Friday, where this show will be the live pre-show before SHW59 at the Action Building. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see you guys. But until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling. See you tomorrow, guys.
Uh-oh.